one reason I started this channel is I just wanted to start a conversation that was based around what is going on here. How did we get here? Or who put us here? Or what are we doing here? And, you know, I think for a lot of people it feels futile to ask those questions, but I mean, isn't that like the apotheosis of being here? I like to place bets on it, like, and of course I've changed it over the years, but I've been like, you know, I bet this is a simulation, blah blah blah, or I bet this is some kind of an imagination station. I guess that's the same thing, like a simulation that you go into, like we're in the computer program. That's another one I've had in the past, and this could be like that, but like these days I've gone more into the kind of Gnostic view where it's like this whole world is based off of this really novel, beautiful idea and pristine design here and like the detail, but it's flawed. It's like, as the religions, or like the Christianity would call it, like fallen or whatever, but it's just like there's some vital component that's missing. I don't know, the way I look at it, if this is possible, if all this is possible, there's gotta be a version of this that is without the really stupid things. I mean, yeah, maybe there's always gonna be, I don't know, we just need to get out of that limited thinking that's like, oh, well, if it wasn't, like, you know, so polarized, it would just be boring or whatever, like, and my argument is, guys, there's so much more of the spectrum of discovery and mystery and architecture, like, all the possibilities we have, and, like, maybe challenges could be more like a quest or to find something. It's like a storyline. And it's like there can be unknowns and difficulties, but to have the difficulty as like almost an invisible illness, like mental struggle, like I want more external difficulty and not so much internal difficulty, because the amount of internal difficulty I've had compared to the external is like, it's like ridiculous. It's like a travesty. It makes it look like I suck at life, because it's like, in contrast to people who have it really hard and yet they're just like passing with flying colors. They're just like killing it. They're just crushing it. They're doing awesome. And sometimes it does take like a storm happening around us to really activate us, to really like persevere and like feel good and be engaged in the story. Of course, depending on what the challenge is and stuff, like some things in life are really depressing. I've recognized that I, and probably a lot of other people, we don't per se have depression. It's not like this like incurable disease or something. It's just the dynamic of life and not having like really any wins, to having a lot of losses and no big wins, and you kind of just like, I'm kind of where I was like 10 years ago in my 20s. I still don't have a place to live. I'm not able to have any pets. I don't have the space and like solitude as I would like it. I don't have the intimacy, but I do have community, and that's like the trifecta of our like social needs and stuff. But as far as placing bets in this life, you know, there's lots of, it's pretty polarized. There's like the religious side of this, like God and all that, and spiritual, and like, it's like reincarnation, maybe, and eschatological, like the apocalyptic, and the whole, all these storylines and narratives. And then we have science, which is like the total opposite. It's just like, let's observe what's going on around us and measure it and like make sense of it, and like understand the laws and how things work. science is understanding the how, but they're kind of like, and not all of them, but a lot of hardcore, like, I don't know, like, it's like our opposite of God. They're like, it's like God doesn't exist. This is just kind of by chance over like eons of time that this finally came about. And it's like, yeah, but to me that isn't like that good of a belief. Like, that's kind of empty, and like, it's like we can't disprove like the spiritual and the divine and like source consciousness, but just because we can't measure it, like, it doesn't mean that like consciousness isn't God itself, like in us, like through us. And it's more fantastical. It's like there doesn't have to, I think like religion has the connotation of like, you know, a dictator God that's like, it's like basically like oppressive and stuff, and it's like the divine isn't like that, but there is some kind of a thing going on down here where it's like we have angels and like something, I don't know, some kind of guides or something helping us along on our journey, even just to get this far. But there's perpetual, continual, insipid predictability with like just, it's like certain things, you know. It's like you're gonna eventually not get along with like your friend or your boss or something. Like, there's always, it's very rare that it's like you have friendships or relationships where it's like you don't get grumpy and annoyed at each other all the time. It's not that it's all the time, but it's like over time, like, you know, it's like people get frustrated at each other. And I always thought in life, like, over time we should evolve in having more patience and seeing each other even more, like appreciating each other for the unique characters that we are. And I uphold personality as like a big chunk of the pie as far as aesthetic of our lives. And I don't know, a lot of like society and social media and like what's cool, what's trending is just kind of boring compared to how enriching it could be with, it's like our relationships with each other. And I've noticed, like, it's like with community stuff, like that's how things really progress, is when a community comes together. And we just don't have that as much. We're kind of like there's some kind of a separation. And I feel like we're better than that. We're smarter than that. Like, and I feel like in this plane of existence, we've been subverted, and we've been like, it's like, that's what I think is kind of the scammy red flag about this place that doesn't really check out, is if this is a learning school, I mean, you know, I definitely want to learn, but why do we forget so much and then kind of learn the same thing over and over? Like, that seems like there's something there that's very dubious. It's like, I'm not really learning, I'm more just surviving and not loving it. I mean, of course there's awesome moments in life. I don't want to just be a downer, but I think those really awesome moments in life are so few and far in between. And that's why people say, wow, life goes by so fast, because those special moments are so rare. And then that's like what anyone else would argue is like, well, you can't appreciate them so much unless they're surrounded by all this like dystopia, and so you can really appreciate the good times. It's like, no, I think we should be able to really appreciate the good times without it having to go into this dark valley. Like, that's just this predictable, like, it's always been the only reason it's distasteful to me is because it's like the only way things go. Like, I would like things, like, I like certain challenges. It's hard to put words on it, but there's something happening here where it's like not so much learning and more like there's some kind of exploitation happening here to the humans, and everyone's just manipulated. I mean, that might sound like a negative view, but there's a lot of freedom in it. There's a lot of compassion to be had, to realize that a lot of us, like, we're just naive, we're stupid. Like, it's not a diss, it's just the facts. I mean, even the smart people still don't really know what's going on. They're more grounded in logic, and they're grounded in life. It's like maybe they have a partner, or they're just naturally really happy, or just really smart and like really get into stuff. But so that's what I'm saying. As far as dumb, it's just naive. Like, we would make different choices if we knew more. And yeah, I guess you could say that's the challenge of this video game, but like I've said in other videos and in this video, I would like other challenges. Like, there's a whole infinitude of experiences and possibilities. And we just stay in this little, like, cyclical little, like, part of it. It's like it's pathological is what it is to me. Like, this whole game we're in is just a toxic game, and it gets all of us. It's like there's the whole victim perpetrator, and all of us are victims and perpetrators. And it kind of does come down to that forgiveness thing, and being able to have grace for other people and yourself, and know it's like, look, we are trying here. Like, a lot of us are doing our best. Even the evil people are doing their best to be evil. Like, people are going for something. They have intentions. They're doing something. Even if we didn't have to work for money, people wouldn't do nothing. They'd still do stuff. They'd have more time to create and make things and spend time in a garden or with their community, or like building something. But then there's like this kind of lack of inspiration here, which is like kind of makes me thinking that there's like energy vampires here that just kind of like suck our energy. And it's like, maybe that's a negative view to have, but it's not as negative as like thinking other people are doing that, because then that just perpetuates the hostility and the animosity between people. I think that it's like people are purposely being malevolent or vindictive, and maybe a lot of people are, but if more of us could have grace and understand that everyone here is subjected to manipulation and is going to make a mistake and going to do something selfish that is kind of a travesty to their character. I mean, I know I've done it. I'm like, wow, there's things in my life. I'm like, if this is a movie, it's like, can we cut that? Like, that didn't add to the story. Had I had like a little more awareness, I was like, I wouldn't have done that. But that's kind of the having grace for each other, is knowing that we would actually do things differently if we weren't so bogged down in this like turmoil and like kind of dystopia. It's like, that's why people kind of lose morale. They get kind of trashed and like treat each other like trash. Like, I'm just talking about the causality, the cause and effect of what's happening to us. It's kind of it's like the most logical stance I can take that's balanced. And I mean, we're all so different. There's so many exceptions to the rules down here as far as like social dynamics and personalities and weaknesses and strengths. So I'd love to know, tell me what's your bets on going on? What do you think is going down on? It's like, is this a play? Is this just a big hoax? I think it's a lot of things, but it's kind of one of those existences that's gone rogue. Like, it's like some other force at work here that's like, it's like manipulating people and making them do what they wouldn't do, which maybe you could say that's the test, but I'm like, I don't want to be tested anymore. Like, not like this. I'm like, I just want to live my life. I'm like, this isn't a good example of what I would actually do. If you like blind me, I don't know, like maybe one day I'll be able to rectify it or like see it, but for right now, it's too myopic for me to be able to appreciate it. It's just like, it's like so poignant and just insipid over like the same kind of things. that happen again and again. I'm like, I want new challenges. I want new things in my life. And I've been working hard for that. And, you know, I'm pretty simple of guy. Like, I don't have that many needs in life. I just need my own space. I need my own times of solitude. I need, like, a partner or times of intimacy, because that's just the way I am. And I've been doing it without that, but I'm not, like, I know there's so much more to me. There's so much more. And it's like, I'm just kind of course I would feel better and, like, do better if I could. But like I said, the naivety, it's like, I don't know how to make it better. I've tried so many things. It's like trial and error. And after a while, I'm like, I don't want to trial and error anymore. I just want to, like, do what I want to do. I want to do what I'm all about. And, I mean, I am doing that, but it's not what it could be.